Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Robin's Nest. If you haven't heard the news, some really exciting stuff has been happening. I'm trying to make it sound exciting as possible. That's why my octaves are up. Does it sound exciting? Has it got your attention yet? Good. The Xfinity series, as of today, I guess this morning, they announced that they will no longer be the Xfinity series. They will, in fact, be the O'Reilly series, O'Reilly Auto Parts series. What does that mean exactly? Well, nothing really as far as the function of the sport. I believe everything's going to stay the same. It's going to be just like when Monster signed on to sponsor the Cup Series. Maybe it'll last a little bit longer than the Monster deal did. We shall see. But yeah, the fundamental, everything that's in place with the series is not going to change. It's still going to have playoffs. It's still going to be all that nonsense, but it's just going to be called O'Reilly, and which is fine with me because the Xfinity deal was really annoying just for the simple fact of every driver saying during interviews, my car was as fast as Xfinity internet or whatever Xfinity was pushing at that particular point in time, and it was annoying. I hated it. Sorry, I just did. But now what's going to happen, are the drivers going to say my car is just as fast as O'Reilly Auto Parts? Because they're not fast. I'm just going to say it. Like, I have no issue with O'Reilly Auto Parts. I love that place. I shop there often. But 9 times out of 10, they don't have the part that I need in stock, and so they have to order it, and it takes a few days for it to show up. And I wouldn't really call that fast. But then again, I guess it's no different than AutoZone or Advance, basically the same. Or are the drivers going to have to sing the jingle? We all know the jingle. Oh, O'Reilly's Auto Parts. Ow. Can't believe I just did that. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. It's going to be cool to see. But thank God we don't have to hear the Xfinity thing anymore. And by the way, I just want to say this because everyone's been bringing up, we're still going to call it the Xfinity series because all the old people will still call it the Busch series. Yeah, but the thing about the Busch series is Xfinity was founded in 2010. There was no such thing as Xfinity when the Busch series was around. So to me, it makes no sense to call the Busch series, which it stopped. When did Nationwide take over? I think it was in the 2000s. It makes no sense to me to call it Xfinity when Xfinity wasn't around. So to me, when it was the Busch series, it will always be the Busch series, and I'm never going to call it the Xfinity series. I'm sorry, I'm just not going to. And I think that's how most people feel about it. If you think about it for more than 10 seconds, maybe I should. It's really not that deep. Anyways, if you enjoy listening to me ramble about motorsports, cars, or anything else I feel like talking about, make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, turn on notifications, the works. Follow us on Facebook, X. Those links are in the description. Also, check out our eBay if you're interested in diecast cars, t-shirts, hats, any kind of racing memorabilia, auto parts, anything like that. Link for that is also in the description. Without further ado, let's get into the rest of the video. So Matt Crafton is out at ThorSport, which, you didn't really need a crystal ball to see that coming down the line, especially after what happened this weekend when his teammate was leading at Richmond, had the best truck by far and away, was dominating, and then he went to put a lap on Matt. For whatever reason, they made contact, and Ty spun out, as did Matt, and they both crashed. Ty came back to finish second, but ultimately, especially if you follow him on Twitter and you look at some of the pictures and stuff of the truck after the race was over, the damage didn't look that bad on TV, but he basically had a parachute on the right side of that truck. It helped with downforce, I would assume, a little bit, but I think it was a little too much. So that ultimately cost them a race. And so they came out today. That was, Friday when that happened? They came out today and announced that this will actually be Matt's last year. They're not framing it as being fired. They're framing it as he's retiring. And maybe that's legitimately the truth. I don't know. It's just the timing is interesting, with everything that happened. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that maybe the conversation behind the scenes wasn't that great this weekend. I think that's pretty obvious. And so, anyways, he's going to be out, and then Ty's going to take over the 88, which is also interesting. I mean, it's like, yeah, you're gone, and the guy that you wrecked, the guy that's essentially the future of the company. Let's be real. Unless something crazy happens, Ty has been the best running truck in ThorSport for a while now, and so, I mean, you got to put all your eggs in that basket. So, I mean, he's certainly the future of the company as far as I would be concerned, looking at it from the outside in. But and so he's taking over the 88. I don't think they announced anything as far as sponsorship goes, if Menards is going to stick around or what have you. So ThorSport's been around since, 2000, I think, something like that. And they started out with, I think Terry Cook was the first driver. And then they hired Matt in either 01 or 02. And outside of, I think it was 2004, he ran a season for Kevin Harvick. Outside of that, he's been with ThorSport his entire career. And Menards has been there basically from the beginning. So outside of the Terry Cook, I think when Matt came over, Menards was there. And Menards previously had been with Brian Refner in the number 3 truck. But they left them, they went over to ThorSport. Anyways, they've all been together forever. So is Menards attached to Matt Crafton? Or is Menards attached to ThorSport? Duke and Rhonda. Don't know. I really have no idea. Well, we'll see what happens. Also, I want to talk about Mumba. I don't really know how you say his name. He's a reporter for NASCAR. He does the podcast with Kevin Harvick and what's her face? Can't remember her name. Anyway, it doesn't matter. What does matter though is this guy is on the payroll for NASCAR, as Brett Griffin said. He gets a paycheck from NASCAR because he's a media member for NASCAR. This guy jumps on Twitter. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day prior, but he said something about the championship. It's not about the best driver. It's about the best team. You know, performing at the best time under the bright lights. Such kind of nonsense. And you know, he's getting a hard time for it. But I think we need to all take a step back and just, cut Mumba some slack. I think we should, because yes, he may say stupid things. He may say them often. But I don't know. There's really no excuse, actually. I'm trying to help him out, but there's no excuse. This is the same guy that I think it was a week, I mean, it wasn't a week, it was a day or two after the Watkins Glen race. And I got in an argument with him about track limits. And this was after, I believe it was after the Saturday race, because, the big crash with Austin Hill and then the crash with Connor and Shane, in my mind, never would have happened if track limits were a thing, like in every other motorsport that races on road courses. But it's not a thing with NASCAR, If they do ever implement track limits on a road course, it's like one corner, and that's it. And then it's usually a corner that doesn't even matter, like the S's at COTA. The way that those guys are not trying to run completely off the track and cut the corner completely. It never made any sense to me why there's track limits. Like, track limits do need to be there, but they need to be everywhere else on the track too. But anyways, Mom and I were talking about that, and he's like, you know what? This is NASCAR, man. We don't have track limits. What? Dude, you're a media member. What are you talking about? You don't have track limits? So Daytona, Talladega, and Atlanta, the yellow line rule, what would you call that? Last time I checked, call me crazy. I'm not an expert. I don't draw a paycheck from NASCAR, but I know a little, okay? And the little bit that I know is that if there's a line on a racetrack and you're not allowed to go across it, that's track limits. It's just what that is. And this dude tells me, no, we don't have track limits in NASCAR. What are you talking about? So then I explained to him, I'm like, yeah, track limits, they have track limits where they shouldn't be, and where they should have them, it's just free for all. And so his response to me pointing out the fact that Daytona, Talladega, and Atlanta have track limits, his response was, oh, well, if you think those yellow line rules shouldn't exist, then our conversation's over. That's not the point of the argument that's being made here. The point of the argument is the fact that you're claiming that there's no track limits in NASCAR when there is. Whether it should or should not exist at those 3 tracks is not the point. I mean, it's a sub point. It's not the point. The point is the fact that you don't know what you're talking about. That's the point. You know, and the same thing happened with Danielle and Larry Mack a couple weeks ago, the whole Mark Martin thing, and like I've moved on past that. I think most people have. It's just, it was annoying at the time. It's whatever, you know. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But like the whole thing that's just been going on lately is just, I don't want to call people incompetent, inept, because they're not. I think Danielle's not incompetent and not inept. Some of the things that she says is just, why would you say that? That's kind of the thought that comes into my mind. But that's, the NASCAR media landscape has been on this train lately. Okay, and they've not jumped off at all. It's been full steam ahead of saying some of the dumbest things I've heard anybody say before in my life. I'm gonna say this, like Kyle Petty. I'm a massive fan. I've been a massive Petty family fan in general since I was a kid. I pulled for Adam, pulled for Kyle. You know, Richard was before my time, but still a fan. And not really before my time, but before I really started watching. I pulled for Bobby Hamilton back in the day. So I'm a huge fan. But when he comes out the other day, and he's saying that everyone's being too hard on NASCAR about the next gen car, and that you need to give them some time to get it sorted out. Dude, we're 4 years in. What are you talking about? Give them some time. So what, we just deal with it. Everyone keep their mouth shut and just deal with it. What? Keep their mouth shut and deal with it. Jesus, I can't talk today. Keep your mouth shut and just deal with it is essentially what he's saying, because they've had 4 years. Nothing's been done. They're not doing anything to move forward. All they're doing is trying to change the schedule enough to where the schedule is going to end up being just 1.5 mile tracks, because that's the only thing that these cars race worth to flip on. But the fundamental issues are still going to exist. And so Kyle coming out there and telling us to just get over it and just accept the fact that we're stuck with a broken race car is nonsense. But it falls in line with everything that's been going on lately with NASCAR media. I don't know if everyone, and Kyle draws paycheck from NASCAR is the reason I'm saying that. And that's nothing against him. Like, look, you can have your own opinion or whatever. It's just interesting to me that every single one of these guys and gals are just saying some of the it's just out of tune. You know what I mean? Like they can't read the room, basically, is what it boils down to. They just can't read the room. And I don't get it. I don't get it. I would kill to have people like Wally, like BP, Buddy Baker, some of those guys back from back in the day, because they actually called stupid stuff out. Like, do you actually think that if this car was around back in the 2000s, that those guys would have kept their mouth shut about it? No way. No way. And I know for a fact Wally wouldn't have kept his mouth shut. He would have said already publicly that something needs to be done. But it's just, I'll get on a soapbox about this. I don't want to belabor the point, because I've talked about how garbage that car is before, but until I'm blue in the face. I just want NASCAR media to figure it out, man. And then, by the way, also I want to talk about this, speaking of NASCAR. Alex Bowman was in second place Saturday night. Was catching Austin Dillon for the lead and for the win. And he caught Shane Van Gisbergen, SVG. Shane was a lap down. I think he was in like 15th. Somewhere around there. And Shane didn't just pull over for Alex. Alex had to work to get around him. Of course, Alex lost his mind and pitched a little fit because Shane wouldn't get out of his way. Cost him time, and in his mind, it cost him a chance to win the race. And so he swerves over in front of Shane after the race is over, throwing his hands up and all sort of kind of nonsense. And then I can't remember if it was Jeff Gluck or Adam Stern. Somebody tweeted a radio clip, like a quote from what he said on the radio, and it was Just whining, man. Just whining. Like, what is it with these drivers nowadays? Like, number one, you had a faster car, you caught him, just pass him. Stop whining and complaining and just pass him. You caught every other lapped car and passed them and didn't whine about it, but then you catch Shane and you want to whine about not being able to pass him. Well, I mean, Shane was on the same kind of tires that half the other guys were that you just passed. It's like, rather than complaining, just nut up and pass him. I am so tired of hearing these prima donna drivers whine and whine and whine. Just get up on the steering wheel, drive your dang race car. I'm a cuss talking about this. Drive your dang race car. It's what you get paid to do. You don't get paid to whine. I'll say this. I've been an AJ Allmendinger fan my whole life. Not anymore because he randomly decided to block me on Twitter, even though I've never interacted with him. But I've been a fan. Basically, well, not my entire life, but since he came onto the scene in Champ Car. But the dude whines more than anybody I've ever heard on the radio. I think it was Atlanta several years ago in an Xfinity race where he was running like top 5. Excuse that. He was running top 5. They had a big wreck. He tore up the front of his car. And they played the radio communication after that. And he was having a meltdown over the radio. And the car wasn't really damaged that bad. Yeah, granted, he probably wasn't going to win the race, but the car wasn't that bad. And so Chris Rice comes on the radio and is like, dude, chill out. Like, stop having a meltdown. We can still get a top 5 or a top 10 out of this thing, you know? But that's the general mentality of all these guys. Someone told me when I said something about this, they're like, well, they're all racist. This is their livelihood and all this kind of, dude, get out of here with that. Shane is already filthy rich. He was filthy rich before he came to NASCAR. He was the man in supercars forever. Okay? Alex has been in NASCAR long enough now to where he's filthy rich. Okay? It's not about their livelihood. Now, in Alex's case, he's been running so bad lately. The rumor has been kicked around. It's been kicked around for a couple of years now that Rick's going to drop him. And that may still be the case. Who knows? But irregardless, like, as far as livelihood goes, yeah, he may be racing for his job, but Alex is going to land somewhere else even if Hendrick does let him go. Let's just be honest about it. He's a Hendrick driver. That's won races. He's going to land somewhere. You know, I just don't understand. I don't get the whining thing. It's annoying to me. And by the way, I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer when it comes to NASCAR. Like, my wife told me the other day, I was tweeting and she's like, you know, you should probably try to find something positive to say about the sport. And I got to thinking, that's true. I should. You know, I'm a fan of the old days. I wish they'd go back to that. But it's not going to happen with Jim and Ben. And, you know, Ben's in the line to take over after Jim's gone. It's not going to happen with those two clowns running the show. And so we're basically in this position where we're kind of stuck, you know. I can't remember who it was said something about it this morning that playoffs will likely not change next year. It'd be 2027. And they may have already said that before. I don't really remember. But it's just, you know, it's not going to change. So I was looking for something positive with NASCAR. And I struggled to find it, but I finally did. And that is Caden Honeycutt and Stuart Friesen's truck. You know, Stuart got hurt in a dirt race a couple weeks ago. We all know that. He broke his pelvis or whatever. Caden had a layover race basically at Watkins Glen where he had to put together something last minute, so he raced with Youngs, and they had a mechanical failure. Then he went to Richmond and was like top 10 all night long. And Caden has been one of those guys where, like, he's clawed and he's fought and he's done everything he can to stay in the sport. He's busted his tail. And it is super awesome to see him get a shot with a really good team. And Stuart Friesen's team is really good. I mean, let's just be real about this. I know the race that they won this year was kind of, you know, circumstances played out perfect for him. But irregardless, I mean, they usually run top 10 anyway. So it's a really good team. And I personally think, wouldn't it be crazy? I mean, wouldn't it be crazy if he starts the season out with Nice lets him go. He has a pickup ride in Watkins Glen, and then goes to Stuart Friesen, makes the playoffs. Wouldn't it be crazy if he ends up winning the championship with 3 different teams? That would be pretty cool. And I think he could actually do it, too. The speed that he showed in Richmond for the first race with the team, I mean, they're just going to get better and better. You just have to assume that. So, yeah, I think it's a distinct possibility. Could happen. I don't know. We'll see. Speaking of Nice, they sold, Al sold majority ownership of his team. I think it was announced late last week that 2 of the sponsors, the electric company, what is it, JS Electric, whatever it is, sponsors one of their truck, is one of the owners, and then one of the other sponsors that they have, one of their other anchor sponsors, bought in as well. And so Al is no longer majority owner in the team, but as for right now anyways, the name of the team's not going to change. Now, will this mean that the team's going to run any better? I don't know. They were really bad in Richmond this weekend. All 4 of their trucks were just slow. We'll see what happens. And funny story too, whoever runs their Twitter channel had a complete meltdown this weekend. It was just arguing with people and stuff like that. It was super unprofessional. I don't know if y'all saw that or not, but unless they deleted it, you should go back and skim through their X and read it. And they may have. I would bet dollars to donuts that they probably did delete it. But I don't know. If not, go back and read it. It's hilarious. Or just search on X. I'm sure people screenshotted it and reposted it, or just reposted it or whatever, because it's hilarious. Anyways, if you enjoy listening to me ramble about motorsports cars, anything I feel like talking about, make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, turn on notifications. The works. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and X for more motorsports content. We post on there daily. I post on there daily. If you're interested in diecast cars, t-shirts, hats, auto parts, or anything else, check out our eBay. The link is in the description. As always, thank you guys for watching. It means a lot. I appreciate it. Till next time, God bless. Peace.